Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning, wealth warriors, warriors in the house. It is Brent Harding, and always on Saturday morning, what are the wealth warriors doing? We are doing a broadcast, bringing you the latest happenings, bringing you information on entrepreneurship, bringing you information on business, bringing you information on real estate, not only hot topics, but those activities that are going to create the wealth, because that's what the genesis of the Wealth Warriors is about. It is about helping us to get to the place over a 60-month period. We're in 48 months and counting to create wealth for 100,000 families around the world. Imagine 200 of us, 200 plus members are going to grow. And we're going to grow in such a manner that we can positively affect 100,000 people. That is an undertaking that I have to tell you, it's a homegrown undertaking that is getting life, and it is in fact growing. Now, I do not do this by myself. There are warriors in the house. So I want to introduce you to the warriors, our co-host for today's broadcast. No, our co-host for consistent broadcasting. So let me start off by putting on the table, or bringing to the table, to the forefront, Pamela Stone, and let her say good morning to you. Pamela, the floor is yours.
Good morning, warriors. Welcome to our show. Hey, I wanted to let everyone know, because I get this all the time, how do I join Wealth Warriors? It's so simple. All you do is go to Wealth Warriors, Facebook Wealth Warriors, and say, I want to join, and you will get a personal message. So welcome, everyone. Oh, grab your paper and your pen, because you're going to get a lot of nuggets today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Excellent. And yes, in fact, you are going to get some nuggets. And in fact, we have a researcher in the house. Our newest co-host is not only a researcher, she is staying on top of the hot topics. And in fact, she is going to be giving us some of this information today. So let me introduce you to Alina Lopez Thomas. Alina, take it over, dear.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Glad to be here. And I am your lady of hot topics and research.
That is for a certainty. And I'll tell you what, we've got 5 hot topics for you this morning. Topic number 1 is going to be on the unemployment rate, which I was astonished when Alina brought this topic to me. I sat there thinking, you got to be kidding me. That's where we're at right now. You are going to be amazed. We're going to talk about the travel industry. We're going to talk about business plan and all of these courses that are popping up everywhere around entrepreneurship. We're going to talk to the millenniums, and then I'm going to share with you what's known as the bell curve. So first things first, the topic of the day, or what we're going to start with, is unemployment. Alina, share with us what you got on unemployment, and then both myself, Pamela, and you, we're going to dive in. So the floor is yours, my dear.
Well, one of the things that I was doing in my research is the first place you have to be is on your tweet. And so in my tweet, I found a wonderful article in the Boston Globe, and it talked about where the state of Massachusetts is right now. And one of the things that it talked about is that our economic engine is firing nearly all cylinders, and this is coming straight out of the magazine. The jobless rate fell last month to its lowest level in 15 years. And like I said, this is straight out of the Boston Globe. It said that the unemployment in Massachusetts eased to 3.9% in August from 4.1% to the prior month. And the state reported on Thursday that employers added 5,900 jobs last month. Now, what's very interesting is the areas in which they did it in. And this was primarily in leisure, in hospitality, education, and healthcare. And so that was very, very interesting. And it also talked about, did it in the industries that they did it in was also in the industries have added workers in payroll and also in other stable industries. Excuse me, I'm having a little bit of a blip right now.
We get that part. We get that totally. That, you know, one of the things about having a home-based type of station is that you're going to have those interesting ones. You know, Alina, I want you to go back. There was one thing you talked about, 3 industries. You said healthcare. What were the other 2 industries you spoke about?
I talked about healthcare, education. I also talked about leisure and hospitality. And so, as we know, one of the hot topics that we're going to be mentioning today is travel. And so we know that leisure falls into that hot topic. So the travel industry is definitely something that's out there. And as we all know, it's one sexy, sexy industry.
For sure, for sure. You know, I want to go back and have everybody chime in. I was astonished when I heard that statistic, and when I read it, 3.9%. Now, granted, that's Massachusetts. However, throughout the entire country, unemployment is at a 15-year low. That, I mean, I looked at that and I said to myself, I can see where people would be lulled to sleep. That when I talk to them about we need to own our own businesses, we need to take on entrepreneurship, and oftentimes people would say, well, no, I can get a job. It's 3, you know, I can get a job. I don't want that kind of responsibility. What are the thoughts that comes to mind for you when you hear that, or when we're talking about that? And it's open up the floor. This is With a View. So this is Wealth Warriors With a View. I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Well, funny enough, Brent, we at my job, we were talking about that. I had a lot of women are like, well, why are you, I do get the question, why do you want to work for yourself when the unemployment rate is low? Now, let me state to you, I did just check here in the state of Ohio. Last month, it was 4.7%. And so everyone's like, it's real good. It's real good. We're getting too comfortable. I told my group, and I work with a bunch of ladies. My floor is predominantly women. And I tell them that's not the attitude. We're getting too comfortable because trust and believe what we just came out of, we can go back to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know what, Alina, you gave us all that statistic. What is your thought when you read that kind of information? What comes to mind for you?
One of the things that comes to mind for me is that I think that as far as the service industry is concerned, people just like being in the service industry, and there's so many floors that are opened up for people to get into. There's all different new things for people to do as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. You have all types of businesses, whether it's I mean, I think people are shopping for people now and doing all those kind of things, and that's a business. People like the ability to be able to do things on their own, set their own standards, set their own rules, and make money while they're doing it. And I think that feels good, and that feels very comfortable for people. I also think that technology plays a big role in it as well. And I think that as we get further into the years, technology is even going to get bigger and better, and it's really just going to blow up with that. So,
you know what,
you chimed in there, huh? You like that one?
I didn't want to cut you off, you know.
Brent said, hold on.
I was going to chime in too. I said, let it happen to work. And
hey, three women. You know, come on, it's going to happen. But you know what I'm saying to myself is that what I heard in the article was healthcare, education, leisure, and hospitality. And I went, well, this is kind of interesting because the tech side, whether it may be a case that it's already understood that tech is always going to have something, but it was just fascinating to hear these 3 were highly favored, if you will. What are your thoughts on that? Because that really kind of surprised me. I expected to hear tech, and healthcare, education, and travel and leisure was stunning.
I can say I'm not surprised healthcare is one of them, though. Let's be honest. Now that we have the Obamacare that's being pushed,
yeah,
You know, so to be honest, I'm not surprised that I'm glad to see I'm in the healthcare business right now. I'm glad to see that it's up there, but I'm not surprised at all because we need it. Being on the other side of it, we need more nurses. We're having a huge shortage of nurses. So I'm glad it's out there though. It needs to be done. It needs to be aware. It needs to be taken care of as well.
Wow, the shortage of nurses. I'm surprised. I hear that here on the East Coast. You're in the Ohio area, and yet we're still seeing that same thing where there is a shortage. Okay.
Yes.
All righty. And Alina, coming out of akin to the health industry in the child care, child policy, child management through daycares, I consider that an akin. Yet health there. Cool. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Jump right in because that's what we do.
No, I was going to say, as far as that's concerned, I mean, I think that you know, we live in a society where people always are, you know, obviously people are gonna, you know, age and are going to need health care. And then we have people that are, people that are having children and being born. And so therefore you're gonna need education, you're gonna need early education. And so therefore education and healthcare are always gonna be existent. So, you know, it's just one of those fields. Those are two fields that are always going to be there. And then after it's all said and done, don't you need some leisure? So, I mean, it's just, you know, to me, I don't know about you, but after all that, I need to kick back. So,
absolutely.
I mean, it just sort of makes sense when you think about it.
Okay, and agreed. So when we look at the nuggets of what came out of what we're reading right now, if I were to say, hey, put up some hashtag around some nuggets on that, I know one of the hashtags, or at least three of them, would be that people would want to be focused in on. And so one of the things that I would say is it would be a hashtag healthcare, a hashtag education, a hashtag travel, leisure, or travel and leisure. Those would clearly be some hashtags to put in the feed to say, hey, folks, these are areas that when we're looking at businesses, these are some things to give more than the usual consideration to. But you know what? For both Lena as well as Pamela, what really drove me to think about this and to say this is a hot topic was the fact that the unemployment rate is incredibly low. I mean, that means that people have jobs. People have jobs, and when you're dealing with that, people get there's a complacency that comes over folks. And I'll tell you one thing, I don't know yet a job. Well, no, I can't say that. My first inclination was to say, I don't know a job yet that's going to make a person a millionaire, but that's not exactly true. But in our jobs, my question would be, ladies and gentlemen, how many of you are going to become the president of that company that you're working for so that you do become the millionaire? Or maybe it's not a millionaire, but you are able to live the lifestyle that you want to live, and you pass it on to generation after generation. So I put that question to the two of you as I'm thinking about that 4.7%. So what do you think about that, Pamela? What is your thought on that one?
I think right now that since the rate is so low, I'm like you. I'm out here. I'm glad to hear it's low. That means that we have people out here that has the jobs. But you know what? Now is the time to take the entrepreneurship to another level. The floor is open, and it's. I mean, now I can see it going so many places. My mind is like, oh wow, I can do this. While the unemployment rate is down low. So me personally, while the unemployment rate, it's time to jump on the band. It's time to jump on the bus and start moving ahead of the game instead of behind the bus, and start learning about entrepreneurship.
When you say that, another thought comes to mind is that in order to do the jobs, in order to do the business that you would want to do, that does mean you will want to save or put some money aside for that business that you want to go into. Instead of living up and taking and eating up the whole paycheck, how much money are you going to put aside for the business? You know, today I was listening to CNN, and a comment was made on the fact that more businesses have died in the bank parking lot. So what that's saying is you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go in for a loan, I'm going to get a loan, and I want to be able to run this business. That's not always the case. Any other thoughts that you all have on that particular topic before I throw something else into the mix? Alina, do you have any other thoughts on that one?
Outside of the fact that I agree with what you just said, and when I was speaking to a businessman, he told me the same exact thing recently, talking about the same subject.
Okay, I got you on that one.
I'm just making it clear that the stamp of approval is right on that one.
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a fact. And this is Wealth Warriors with a View, ladies and gentlemen. Wealth Warriors with a View. We're going to take a moment right now. We're going to do what we do, and that is we need to invite people into this broadcast. We've got 4 more hot topics to share this morning. That being said, we are going to take the hands and put them to work. That's right, we're going to put them to work, and what that means is this, that we want to say to everybody, join the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. So I'm going to ask you to take your fingers, put them on the keyboard, and type in join the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. And then on the count of 3, 1, 2, and 3, on 3, we're going to push the enter button, and we're going to flash mob it. And that means, and myself, Alina, and Pamela, we're going to say flash mob, all righty? So it is join the Wealth Warrior broadcast now. So everybody should have the word now, period on it. 1, 2, 3, hit the button and flash mob. Yes, sir. That's right, because we got nuggets in here this morning, ladies and gentlemen. Nuggets. And we're about to go on to the next one. Alina, we're going to talk about the travel industry. That is the next one. Talk to us about what you found out about the travel industry.
Well, I think I put it out there just a little bit, outside of the fact that that industry is definitely one that is still at the very top when it comes to entrepreneurs and a business to go into. It stays at the very top in all angles. Once again, in looking at the different magazines, one of the ones that I'm always looking at is the Entrepreneurial Magazine. Throughout that magazine and throughout anything that I'm looking at, it always talks about the travel industry and how being in that industry is a definite sure one for making money. And so you can go at it in many different angles, whether you're doing it as a cruise professional, whether you're doing it for a business traveler, whether you're doing it for destinations, whether you're doing it for whatever you're doing it for, I don't know, just travel. But the point is that the travel industry, and I used the word before, it's sexy, and sexy not just meaning, sexy, but sexy meaning that it's sexy in the sense that it lines those pockets with green. And I know everybody wants some green in their pockets. And I know
I'll tell you what, green, right. Let me say this. Green is sexy, okay? Green is sexy.
That's right.
Green is sexy, okay?
It's sexy.
Absolutely. So it really does do that. It's a very consistent field to be in. And I just wanted to put that out there, that it's at the top. It's at the very top. Companies are still coming around and blooming in that industry, and it's staying there.
What's fascinating about that is that people would think, oh my goodness, there's no space, there's no room. It doesn't make sense to be in the travel industry. In fact, people would say, Brent, why did you get into the travel industry? And I'm sure, Alina, you get the same thing. Why did you get into the travel industry? And here is the very interesting deal about that. It's how we distinguish ourselves. There's so many things to do in the travel industry that travel makes sense. It's an $8 trillion a year industry. And there are times when I'm telling you, I feel like I'm preaching it out there, and I am, because there are segments of the population that have no ownership on this industry, on an $8 trillion a year industry. I mean, we've got statistics that say that the $29,000 a minute is made in this industry. How many minutes are there in a year? And that's what's happening. Pamela, what's your thought on this one?
That, you know what? Okay, you know I already have a lot of businesses that I do. I may have to add that one to my list. $8 trillion. If anybody has any doubt on where they could start or get into, or they say, you know how we have a lot of people say, I don't have a business to get into. Hello, travel, $8 trillion.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I promise you, my mind's trying to work. How am I going to fit this all into the declutter business right now? I promise you. Wait till we get up here. I'm like, ladies, help me out brainstorm something.
We will help you out brainstorm offline. We will help you out with that one. Oh my goodness.
$8 trillion, and people can't figure out a business to start into. You just laid it out here for them.
Hello.
You just laid it out.
You know, it not only is a business, a career. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. Oh man.
Absolutely. And you know what? And the beauty is when you're in that industry, you are moved and motivated to want to travel. I mean, I'll tell you, there is nothing on the planet like doing that. So, and the beauty is there's room in there for everybody that wants to be involved. There are 300 million Americans. You're going to tell me that there is not room in there for at least a significant portion that want to do this, to be able to do that. And then you can leave and go to another country and do that as well. Come on, folks. Game over on that one. Am I right or am I right?
Absolutely. Game over.
Got my attention.
You know what? I am so glad that it got her attention. Alina, thank you for discussing that topic. That is a topic, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness. Third hot topic of the day. Third hot topic. Alina, you saw something. Folks, you know that she is the queen of hot topics, right? So if you wonder why we're popping back and forth, she is the queen of hot topics. And today we are spending the time. Hot topics. So that's why you're hearing so much about this. All right, hot topic number 3. Now, I want to share with you. Let me line this up for you. Alina is so incredibly passionate. This is a personal, passionate one for her. In fact, in the event on November 5th, this is a topic that she's going to be discussing. She's got some serious passion around this one. So, Alina, hit folks with the business plan and what you are seeing with entities that are sharing business plan with folks. Go right ahead.
What entities are sharing with business plans?
Yeah, you know, like CWE is doing multiple courses on there. We just read about the Chamber of Commerce that's having a business plan boot camp. Ooh. So really, I mean, as we're talking about entrepreneurship, that is really becoming a hot topic.
Oh, right now, yes. As far as business plan is concerned, I mean, you just said it, Brent. There's a lot of organizations out there that are talking about business plans and the importance of having a business plan. Now, obviously, you know, people know that you need to have one. I think we talked about before that some have even put their business plan together. However, have you even really looked at your business plan is the question. And so that's one of the things that is very important for a person to do. So definitely, you know, you have to have one of those. You have to make sure that you're looking at it and, you know, just staying very, you know, with that. People, as far as the business plan is concerned, everybody is talking about that. And on November 5th, we're going to have a lot of information on business plans and that whole importance of having, and a lot of nuggets around that whole piece. So, and I think everybody's going to be jumping in. It's the area that I'm going to be talking about. However, I'm sure Brent's going to be running out there sharing some stuff, and you know, I'm sure Pamela will come out too and say a couple of words on it, because business plan basically is the foundation of anybody's business, especially if you're trying to be an entrepreneur.
For sure, for sure. You know, Pamela, you and I had a conversation around, and thank you, Alina. You and I had a conversation around business plans and the fact that people write them and then they never read them again. You said that your company, though, that's not the case. What is it that your company does with their business plan?
Actually, we take it a step further. So my prior company, when I did some consulting for them, I had to tear the business plan apart. And as they had stated that they were going to do some goals, I had to implement some processes so they can meet those goals that they had put into the plan. Now, to hold them even more accountable to the fire, each department was to lay out three. If the department fell short, they had to come back to me to come up with another implementation plan to make sure. The reason why we did that was several reasons. We were getting multi-million dollars from the federal government. So we had fell short. It always happens. So that's a true learning lesson. So after that, I started monitoring the business plan. What they said they were going to do, I made sure they did it. And we set dates to make sure. Now, when they fell short, there was consequences. And I have to say that as entrepreneurs, when you do your business plan, you do need to set timelines, and you need to set consequences for yourself. So you start getting used to following your business plan, because you don't want to set it there. You don't want it to hold space. And that's
now, you know what, look at here, Pam. I don't want to be beating myself up. I don't want to be consequence. All right, give me an idea of a consequence so I can decide whether I really want to have that happen to me. What's the consequence?
Well, ironically enough, at that time, you know how we talked about in our last show where you pay yourself? Well, at the end of the year, I always tell my entrepreneurs, set a big goal. What are you going to reward yourself at the end of the year? So if you don't meet that goal, set a little monetary value, because you have to start taking this seriously. I work with the organization that had 150 to 200 employees, and they didn't take it serious. So you think if you're just your own and you don't take it, and you're one. So you just set a small monetary. I say monetary because it hits you in the pocket.
Yes, it does.
And they get your attention real quick and hard. Trust and believe. When I came to the team,
yeah,
and I introduced about the money, everyone was like, "Wait a minute now, how much is that going to affect my rate?" It makes you start thinking. It makes you coming up with ideas, and it makes you accountable. And guess what? I do it now. I have a whiteboard where you don't see it, but I have 3 whiteboards, and one is nothing but dates that I have to keep on target. And that's just me too, because I'm just anal like that. But it makes you think. It really does, and it keeps you on target.
You know, when you've talked about the money, that's almost like the quarter in the jar. Every time you say something that's inappropriate, you put the quarter in the jar. Was it that they would have to take the cash out of their pocket to pay the company because they didn't meet their goal?
You mean as a corporation? Work for the corporation? It did touch a little bit of the salary from the business side, the company side. You know, they didn't take it out themselves, but the employees became well aware. When it came close to time for the deadline, everyone was screaming like, "Okay!" Everyone had their pen and paper. They're like, "How close are we? Where are we missing it?" It made everyone aware, and that's the important thing. It's just to make you aware of what you said. Why have it? It will serve its purpose.
Understood. You know, when I was talking to Alina about our November 5th date, one of the things that I had shared with her is so many people this plan. Why? Because the industry says you should have a business plan. And then the next thing you know, they're not looking. I know when I had a consulting firm and I wrote a business plan. In fact, I hired somebody to write the plan. And we looked at it and we went, first of all, I got to share one thing, and I know Alina will attest to this, and I'm sure you will also, Pamela, and that is for anybody that's listening, if you've been in your business for more than 2 years, the only person that is qualified to write that plan is you. You're laughing, Alina. Why are you laughing, Alina? Why are you laughing?
Well, because it's absolutely true. I mean, somebody else should not be writing what it is that you're going to be operating, basically.
Exactly.
Well, and for the listening audience, you will appreciate this. For both of you, Alina and Pamela, I know you'll love this. We had our business plan written. And my partner and I decided what we were going to do is we were going to go away and we were going to each take half of the plan. And we would read it and then we would swap. And we came out at the end and we stood there and we sat there and we said, who is this guy writing for or about? I don't understand. This is not the company that we're talking about.
Right.
And I thought about the time we spent, and he interviewed us and he asked all the questions. He asked the consultants questions, and he came up with a totally different company.
He came up with his company.
That was his plan.
Thank you. That was his plan, because for a certainty, it wasn't the plan that we had, or
Right.
nobody, or you know what? The other thing we thought is, then nobody in this company knows what we're doing.
Right.
Right.
He just wrote himself a job.
Yeah. Thank you. I didn't even think about it from that point of view. Thank you very much. That's exactly what happened. I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, hot topic, hot topic, hot topic. There are boot camps that are going on right now, and people are paying money for those boot camps. There are people that are becoming specialists just in writing, or not so much writing, in teaching people how to write their business plans. Alina, how long was the course at CWE on writing a business plan?
That was a 10-week intensive, and I will repeat, excuse me, intensive. Can y'all say it? Intensive. Thank you. Business planning course. That was a writing course. That was very intensive.
Wow.
We
wow.
did, and I want to let the viewers know, we also have that type of program, same type of program here in Columbus. It is offered at ECDI, and it is for 10 weeks too. And I heard it's tough. I heard tough.
Mm-hmm.
I can only imagine. Well, 10 weeks, yeah, because business plan is no joke. What did we say? Green is sexy, but in order to get the green, you got to have a plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. Alina, next hot topic, and this is a huge one.
That's unpopular.
You are a popular chick. Hey, you are popular. You know, one of the hugest topics on the planet right now, I think probably second only to travel. What is happening with millenniums? They are taking over the world. And I'm telling you, I had a problem with that, because you've got folks that are retiring now and the millenniums are like taking over. What is happening? Please share this with us.
Well, I'll tell you, I have, from a very close vantage point, I have 4 millenniums that are very close to me. Okay, I have 2 millenniums that live in my household. Okay, and one of my millennials, okay, today went to go to a course to find out how to open her own program. And that's what they're doing right now. They are starting at a very young age, okay, and they are trying to find out how to be entrepreneurs. When asked the question, so what are you doing? They're saying, we want to open our own businesses because we basically want to be able to work for ourselves. And that's what's happening. So I'm seeing it for firsthand knowledge, just right within my own home and around me. And everybody else, if you're in society, if you're reading anything, if you're touching anything, if you're sitting in coffee shops, as I said last week when we talked, that they are blazing and trailing forward. And they're definitely trailing in all avenues. They're thinking of all different ways to become millionaires, and not even become millionaires, but they are the millionaires. So it's one of those kind of things where it's like put on your running shoes, because basically this is what they're doing, and they're catapulting off. And
wow.
you know.
Wow. Yeah, I remember you mentioning that. In fact, you talked about one of the magazines that you had read. I think it was Entrepreneur Magazine, and there were like
Yes.
three of them that were millionaires, and they're all in their 20s.
Yes.
Actually, I did meet a gentleman last year who's created an app here in Columbus off of Snapchat, and it's called Rap Chat. He is already making $3 million and have 10 employees working for him, and he's 24 years old.
That's what I'm talking about.
Phenomenal. Phenomenal. And then I met another young man. He's 25. He's here. He has 30 employees, and they create games, the electronic games.
Yeah.
And he literally sat down with me and showed me all of this.
Yeah.
So what they're saying is we are creating jobs for ourselves. I mean, vicariously, we're talking about businesses, but these folks, you know, I used to say plan B, employ me, employ myself. They are already coming out of the gate saying, I'm employing myself. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Most definitely. I mean, they're starting, just like you said, Brent, they're starting at that point where they're saying, I'm going to employ myself. I'm not waiting for anybody else. I mean, I think I had mentioned before that even sitting in a coffee shop one time, I was just sitting there, I was eating my lunch, and yes, I was ear hustling. Hey, I had no choice. But I heard some people, and some young people, and they were just sitting there talking about what it was that they were doing for the business that they were starting. And I mean, they had it all. They had their computers out, they had those fingers moving, and they had the plan and all the strategics and everything. And I was sitting there going, ooh, wow. You know, and then I was like, can I have some more coffee?
I know that's right.
I will have drunk a pot by the time they get through. Okay.
Me too.
Whoa. You know, that is, I mean, I remember there was a gentleman that I had a conversation with, and he said he was talking about his son, and he said his son told him, listen, I'm not going to end up like you. Now, after he got off the floor, they were able to have another conversation, but it was wild because that, yeah, that he did hit the floor. But anyway, that's a story for another time. But you know, his point, you couldn't help but understand his point. He was saying, listen, you all work for 40 hours a week for 40 years. And I'm just looking at, and I'm looking at, do I want to end up like that? And so it is wild because traveling, they are traveling, they're moving there, and they're running their businesses from the iPhone. They're going, are they running their businesses from the iPhone or what?
Oh, from the watch. Yeah. iPhone.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Everything is wireless, and they're having a conversation. You know, they're hanging out with 007. Okay. Yeah. Oh my goodness, this is as crazy as it gets. And I'll tell you, you know what's interesting is marketers, statisticians, they are going to the millenniums first before they even come and deal with. And the interesting thing is that there are more Generation X, there are more of the retirees than there are millennials, yet they are focused in on millenniums first. What are your thoughts on that one, that the focus is really on the millenniums first?
Well, I like Generation X people.
Oh, really?
That's my only comment, and I'm sticking to it. Pamela, take it away.
I love that one. I mean, I saw the ball get shot right over.
Right.
That was very, very good.
I would do it though. I'm sorry. I've been on the other side. I've been with the corporations. I would take the Millennium, because guess what? Once I get a Millennium to help me run, I can learn from them. And look, me being where I'm at, I want to Millennium, so he can help me grow myself, so I can become far behind. I'm okay. I will take the multi-millions after him, but to help me learn it, I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that. Well, that truly is where not only statistics, articles, information is saying that they're going to them first. Even though you're looking at the numbers, they're still going to them first. And I would suppose that's because, guess what? They are the generation. They're going to be this continuous generation. We're going to have them for another 20, 30, 40 years. They're looking at the others saying, yeah, we're going to have you probably about another 10 years. So we know where the priorities at. Totally understood.
Exactly.
Totally understood.
I think it's with the millenniums is that they want, the millenniums have a very quick result. And so they're very fast. And that's just that's how they respond to things. I mean, I know if I say to one of my millenniums, can you show me how to do, by the time I can't even show you how you do, and they grab it out my hand and they got it done already. And I'm like, you know what? Can I get some lesson with that?
Right.
So they're very fast and quick. And so for certain things, you really do need that. So just like Pamela said, for in certain areas, at least what I'll say for myself, that's very good. And you want that kind of thing. And so I take it as well and take that learning knowledge and move with it. No problem whatsoever.
Absolutely.
Totally agree with you on that one. Totally agree with you on that one. We're going to do a recap for just a moment for those that might have joined us late, wanted to hear what was going on. We're doing 60 minutes of hot topics, and there are 5 strong hot topics that we're talking about. We've talked about 4 of them. The very first one that we talked about was the unemployment rate, and the fact that the unemployment rate is below 5% in most of the country. In fact, here in Massachusetts, that unemployment rate is at 3.9%. Pamela shared with us that in Ohio, and specifically in Columbus, 4.7%. And so what it tells us is that people are becoming very comfortable with their jobs. Ladies, even shared the other 2. You know what I figured out? We didn't contrast that. And I don't know if the article brought this up, Alina. And that was the ages of people that are in those jobs. And the reason I said that is if you contrast that with the millenniums, I wonder what that 3.7% with the unemployment, where people are at in terms of, are they in jobs, in those jobs, what age brackets are we talking about? So that's something that comes across as you've got the millenniums right now that are really focused on entrepreneurship. So the percentage of people that are actually working, I wonder what that age bracket is. Any thoughts about that, Alina, or had you had a chance to take a look at something like that?
I didn't have a chance to look at that, and I'm doing a quick scale here. I don't see any information around that.
Okay.
But that is something that I can definitely take a look at and then bring it back.
Okay, I would appreciate that. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to come back to you with that. Wanted to just let you know that is a heavy topic right now. And in that information that Alina shared with us, that is the healthcare industry, which we know is going to be from birth to our passing, that healthcare is still going to be there. Pamela brought out in terms of the nursing industry that I knew on the East Coast, nursing, we had a shortage, and now we're starting to move into the mid states, and the shortage for nurses is still there. So healthcare, there's no way of getting around that important industry. Education is significant. That was the second of the top 3. What was surprising in my mind was the third one, and that was travel and leisure. And yet it shouldn't have been, because as Pamela learned, $8 trillion a year is what we call green is sexy, because the travel industry is absolutely does pay. And in fact, Alina brought out the point that the travel industry I don't even know if I could say it's a comeback on the travel industry, or it is now. It's, you know what, Alina, let's answer that question for me. Is it that the travel industry is making a comeback, or is it that people are just becoming cognizant of it? What's your thought on that one?
You know what? I don't think it's a case of the travel, and I don't think so, because people always talk about travel constantly, just individuals all the time. I mean, if you think about it, even people working, the number one thing that people are always talking about is where they're gonna go. I mean, what else do you talk about at work? I mean, you shouldn't have not talking about working. So the only thing you talk about is your vacation time. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm being
Ladies and gentlemen, wait a minute. I got to put a disclaimer on here. This is not a comedy show, okay? We are not trying to compete against Saturday Night Live. We're not competing against Saturday Night Live. It's just that some of the things on here are actually.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say that. But no, to be honest, I mean, I don't think it's a comeback. I think that it's something that is always been there. And people are just taking advantage of something that they now recognize maybe that you can make good money at.
Got it. Absolutely got it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is in fact the travel industry. Travel is alive and well. So that was the topic number 2. Now we have topic number 3. Got a little bit of feedback. We have hot topic number 3 we talked about was the business plan, and the fact that the business plan is a huge topic, because as we're going into business, that is something we need to know where we're going. A roadmap, without a roadmap, GPS, no matter what, it's still a roadmap, and without it, you could end up anywhere. And I liked something that Pamela talked about in that when we talked about the business plan, and that was that in her prior job, she was with a company that they didn't look at that business plan. I shared with the audience that, guess what? I had a business plan. I didn't look at it, got it written up. It wasn't the best use of money, because at the end of the day, we ended up having to write it again anyway. So 3rd topic, business plans. And then huge topic, I mean, huge, is the millennium. Wait a minute, you know what, Alina, wait a minute, what is the word? Is it millenniums, millennials? What is the right word?
Millennials.
Oh, okay, so like little minions? Like little minions?
Ooh, don't you ever. I'll put it this way, even if they are, they're making millions of dollars, so I'll hang with them.
So thank you. So I need to stand down.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was her twin. Stand down. I told you about stuff like that. Thank you.
And millennials. It's millennials, actually. Yeah.
Millennials?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Very good. Very good. I'm going to help tie all of this conversation together with something known as the bell curve and where we are at in 2016. Here's the deal. We're at a place where action is getting ready to burst out. And what do I mean by that? There is something called a bell curve. And what I'm going to draw it in the air so that we get what I'm talking about. But a bell curve is exactly this. There's a beginning, there is an end, and there's a midpoint. Right now, we have had phenomenal performance. Like you see, like we talked about, 3.9% on unemployment, 4.7% all across the board, less than 5% unemployment rate. We've got all-time highs with courses on entrepreneurship. We've got millenniums being viewed as the people to talk to. We've got all of this action going on. We are at peak performance, where the peak performance has now become the norm. The real estate industry, oftentimes when we look at the real estate industry, that's what gives us a great barometer. And there is building going on everywhere. So now I want you to think about this. 10 years ago, 2006, we had something called a form, F-O-R-M. And remember, in the bell curve, you have to have a beginning. By 2008, mass chaos in the United States, actually across the world, but mass chaos. Why? It was called the storm stage. You've got the banking industry breaking down. You've got the auto industry needs to be bailed out. And that's a storm. And here's the deal with the storm. You cannot avoid a storm. It is going to happen. No matter how you're thinking about it, a storm will happen. So we've gone from the form. In 2008, we had the storm. And it took about a good 4 years before we got to a place called perform. See, here's the deal. In a bell curve, it is a 10-year period of time. That's why I said I went back to 2006. So it's now 2016. It's 10 years. So what's happening now is we have become comfortable because we went through the perform stage, and now we are at a place where we feel, hey, this is normal. This is the way it's supposed to be. Well, here's the deal. The norm, if you will, the perform is up at the top. So now we're coming down. We came down to a place called norm. And guess what? There is a cross section. And now we're starting another form stage. This is the time when you want to be holding on to capital so that you can be prepared to invest. You're investing in real estate. You're investing in precious items. Now, let me put the disclaimer. I am not saying I'm a financial planner. I am not saying that I am I'm not saying that I've got a Series 63, a Series 6, a Series 7. I'm not saying any of that. So I'm putting the disclaimer out there. I am merely saying that if I were the boss and you were coming to me and you were saying, boss, give me some suggestions, give me some recommendations, I would be saying to you that we are getting ready. We are starting a new form stage. And the issue here is when we go into the storm, prices drop. Prices drop. Just like they did in 2006 to 2008. And guess what that means? It's the big O. Everybody know what the big O is? Opportunity. That's what I'm talking about. Opportunity is at our doorstep. The idea is we want to be prepared because, you know, if you think about it, back in the 1920s, when you had the crash, millionaires are oftentimes built out of recession. I don't know, was that what? Was there some heaviness in that? Give me your thoughts. What are you thinking when I talk about the bell curve and where we're at and the kind of things that we would want to do right now? Pamela, what's the first thing that comes to mind for you?
Start getting out here and start taking opportunity. Take it while you can.
Opportunity knocks. Guess what? If the door doesn't shut, it goes to somebody else that walks past as you leave. They're walking past. Elena, what do you think about that bell curve in where we should be at and the kind of things we should be doing right
now? Absolutely the same thing. It's an opportunity to get your businesses together, start your, whatever it is that you have, your dream that you had, get it started, move it forward. I think that it's like anything. We always tend to repeat something, whether it's our fashion. I don't know. We'll probably wear mini skirts next week. Bell bottoms again. I mean, everything has a tendency to repeat itself, and you get an opportunity to do it over again. So it's the same kind of, if you look at it like that, that it's something that can happen. You have ups, you have downs. And It's all on a curve. You just got to be there at the right time. And right now we're at the right time, at the right place. And basically, like Steve Harvey said, jump.
Hello, jump. That's what we're talking about. I want to share with our listening audience. I really, really, really hope you got some serious nuggets out of today's broadcast. In fact, with hashtag green is sexy. There, I hope you got meat on the bone. I like what Pamela said, that you had pen and paper, or you had your phone, whatever the case, whatever the mechanism is for taking notes down. I hope that you did, because this was 60 minutes with a hot topics. I absolutely love it. I want to say, Alina, thank you so much for the research that you did. Thank you for the topics that you brought up, because truly, you really, you knocked it out the park, woman. You knocked it out the park. Thank you very much.
Welcome.
We want to talk about, before we go on with what's going to be happening next week, want to talk about some upcoming events, because you know what, we build from event to event. We have fun from event to event. And so we've got events happening in October. Pamela, why don't you share with us what you have going on in October?
Yes, here in Columbus, Ohio, we will have Girls Night Out on October the 7th. That is a Friday. So those of you that are not able to attend, but you have a business and you would like to do some advertising of your business, you can go ahead and inbox me at the number 1, then PANDS consulting@gmail.com. And we'll put your business in our swag bags that we're having. We have about 100 swag bags. There is a cost, and it is $25.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. So for those of us that want to grow our businesses in another location, we don't always have to physically be there. We can send that. We can actually put our business information in the swag bag. And guess what? We've just opened up a door so that we can get known and build in another area. Pamela, with that swag bag, for those that say, yes, I want to expand my business, I want to look at Ohio, and your venue is a way for me to be able to do that. They're going to get a listing. Are they going to get a listing in some sort of a booklet, or how?
Yes.
Will be in the
It'll
swag
be a directory.
How's that
Actually, it'll
work?
be a directory, and we also have it online. So both, it'll get paper for people here in Columbus and online for people that are out of Columbus, Ohio. So we're being
What was that? You're being multi. What was that again?
we're being multifaceted here.
Absolutely, absolutely awesome. And again, what's the name of the event?
It is Girls Night Out, and you can find us on the Facebook at Girls Night Out, or you can do GNO Columbus.
Awesome. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. We have an event here in Boston, Massachusetts. And Alina, you want to share that upcoming event on November 5th?
November 5th, we're having an event here, and this is our E3 event, and it is to power up, power up, power up. And we are educating, empowering in entrepreneurship. That's what the E3 is all about. And it is a women's event. And so we'd like to see all women who are interested in being entrepreneurs, are entrepreneurs already at this event. We're going to be talking about some excellent things all around business. And actually, we're going to have the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Pamela Stone there, because she's going to come all the way from Ohio. I had to throw that out there. We already know that we're going to have the Miss Fabulous Brent Harding. She is the host of the event, Wealth Warriors. And then myself as the co-host, Grown Woman, because grown women got to be there. And it's going to be a wonderful event. We have a lineup that is out of control, fabulous. And as you check our website, the Facebook, Twitter, and everything else, because we're tweeting like crazy. Yes, we are going to be tweeting like out of control. Yes, Facebook, everything. Just get prepared. We're going to be putting it out like maniacs. We have a lineup that is just going to just blow your socks away. We're so excited about this. Brent, I know that we have swag bags as well. You probably can talk a little bit better about those swag bags and what that's supposed to look like. I think I know what that's looking like. I know I'm asking about them, but you can probably talk a little bit more about that. But November 5th, we're going to be in Quincy, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the wonderful women entrepreneurs.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Appreciate that. And yes, we have the fantabulous ladies, the fantabulous co-hosts of the Wealth Warrior broadcast that are going to be there. And it is going to be exciting. And in terms of the swag bags, we are going to have swag bags that have all kinds of items in there, from books to you name it. We're going to have it in there. And we have various types of swag bags. We have the VIP swag bags. We have the general admission swag bag. But we want to make sure that you take home everybody that spoke at the event, everybody that participated at the event. We want to make sure that you have a piece of them with you that you can learn from, that you can interface, that you can do business with. I also wanted to share something. Thank you, Alina, for leaving this piece for me.
Mm-hmm.
And that is say that at the event, Pamela Stone is going to be interviewing people live. So this is going to be feeding us live.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yes.
So when you come to the event, do know that if Pamela puts that camera there with herself, with you, that you want to be able to share something with her. If you've got a business, you want to be able to say, this is what I do, and I'd be glad to do something for you. But yes, we are going to make sure that it is live so that people that were not able to be here, because the space is limited. It's limited to 75 women. That's it. Once the tickets are gone, guess what? They are gone. So 75 tickets, and then it's going to be live. But in any way you get there, be sure to get there, because November 5th is happening in Boston. 2 days after the election, we want to give you something to be excited about, and that is ownership. There is nothing greater, I'm telling you, than when you own your own. It is amazing. It changes your life for a certainty. So October and November, you've got something to go to look forward to. Ladies and gentlemen, I tell you what, that's it. That's all they wrote. This is the show. Any parting thoughts that you have? You can't do any more than that. I can't squeeze more time out. Pamela, your parting thought as we wrap up today's show.
Yes, everyone get out there and let today be your beginning for tomorrow. Have a wonderful weekend. See you next week.
Appreciate that. Alina, your parting statement, ma'am.
My parting statement is, I'm looking forward to seeing you on November 5th. Power up.
Awesome.
Ooh, I like that.
You like that one. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been our pleasure to be with you this morning. We will see you next week. And as I always like to end my thought process with, and be absolutely amazing. We'll see you next week. Take care now.